Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Aisha Richards here, and I'm back with another video. This is obviously going to be an informative video because it's titled Care.com for Beginners. So I'm going to give you the rundown on how to use the app Care.com. So this is for my nice girls, mean girls. This is not for you. I'll have to come up with another side hustle for you all. But if you're nice and you want to make about $500 to $800 depending on your area a week, $500 to $800 depending on your area a week, check this video out because I'm going to give you the rundown on how to do that. So like all my videos, I will have bookmarks so you can skip to whichever part you need to know, or if you want to rewatch a part, I will have every section of this video bookmarked. So I'm going to show you the chapters now. We're going to first discuss the qualifications to work on Care.com, in my opinion, the profile, what you need to set up for families or care, or for families or guardians to find your profile page to begin with to hire you. I'm going to tell you the questions and the questions to ask during the Zoom interview. Then we're going to discuss the safety and liability aspect, and then finally the things to know before you begin care. So let's start off with the qualifications. In my opinion, you should only be working for children, infants, toddlers, preschoolers, elementary, middle school, high school, if you are empathetic, kind, generous, and welcoming. If you don't have those traits, this is not the job for you. One, you're going to be dealing with infants that constantly cry at times. Maybe they're colicky, maybe they have the flu. They could be just sad because they don't know you that well, and it's going to take time to warm up. So they could just be the typical new person fear, the, what do we call it in the daycare, stranger danger. It could just be that, and they don't know you yet, so it's going to take time for them to warm up. If you can't listen to a baby crying for hours without wanting to shake the baby, please don't sign up for this job. You got to be able to tune that out. It's sad, it's horrible to hear a baby crying for a long time, but you have to be able just to continually soothe the baby and do all the different strategies that you know, which I will discuss in the further videos on tips on how to soothe babies. You can't give up, you can't get angry, you can't get upset. So that's first thing. In a fight or flight situation, so if something dangerous is happening, if you're a person who either freezes or runs, I wouldn't recommend you working with children either, because that could be causing another issue to happen. The child could be in danger and we need you to react. Like they're not breathing, they're choking, you need to start performing CPR. If the child is bleeding, we need you to put pressure on the wound and stop the blood flow. You got to be quick. You got to know what to do. But these things do take training. You can train your brain to react this way to different events, and I'll discuss how to do that later. So that goes into, like, do you intervene when someone is in danger? Like if you hear your neighbor screaming, are you calling the police? Are you knocking? Are you checking to see what's going on? Or you're like, oh, the person upstairs will check it. If you're the one who's like, oh, someone else will deal with it, don't do childcare either, because you're going to put children in danger. All right, moving on from that. What you need to do, in my opinion, because again, I am not an employee of Care.com, I am self-employed. So when I go on Care.com, I'm working for myself and I'm not necessarily affiliated with them. I'm just using their services to contact parents, right? So in my opinion, if you're watching this and I'm trying to tell you what you should do before you start working on Care.com, is I think you need to get CPR, first aid, and AED certified for infant and child. So how to do that is right now, Red Cross has tons of online services available that range from $100 to $200 depending on what you do. You always have to, if you want to be fully certified, that doesn't say online only, you're going to have to go in for a day and work on dummies and do some parts of the training in person so they can see that you actually know how to follow the regulations for CPR, right? And choking and burns and wounds. So you're going to have to go in if you want to have the best certification available. And again, parents, some of them require these, some don't, but it's always great to have on your resume, and it's always great to just have the document so you can send it to parents to let them know, like, yeah, I'm serious about this. I got CPR, first aid, and AD certified. Like, I'm ready to go. That's awesome, right? And then other qualifications would be if you have ever worked with children in a professional setting like a childcare or a school, if you ever subbed, if you've done anything that works with children, a residential facility, etc., that is something that will help you be more qualified, and you can put that on your profile, which we're going to talk about now. So on your profile, you have to have your first name. You don't have to have your last name, right? So mine would say Aisha R. This is what the families would see when they click my profile. They'll see Aisha R, and then you're going to have to add some pictures. So you have your profile picture, which I recommend using a picture of you smiling, no cleavage showing. I used a zip up, and I will show my profile here so you all can see everything that I'm talking about. I'll just go through the app and post it here. And as well, if you are a visual learner and you need something to read, I can easily make a Google Doc of all these. So just type Google Doc in the comments and I will make one and make it public to everyone. All right, so your profile is going to have your name. You're going to have your location. So you don't have to put your precise location, but Care.com needs to know your city so families can know you're in their area and they can reach out to you, right? So then you're going to have to put your location. You're going to need to set up your hours. So Care.com goes by your day hours. So if you wanted to do a one-time booking, so say for instance a parent says, hey, we have a 20th anniversary coming up July 18th. Can you come this day? You can say, hello, thank you for inquiring my services. As you can tell from my profile, on June 18th, these are the hours I'm available. You know, you don't have to say it that way because that can seem a little standoffish, but they can go to your profile and see on June 18th, she's available from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. so we can schedule and book with her. And then you also have recurring job availability. So every Monday, every Tuesday, so on and so forth, I'm available for this time. So if a family wants to book you every Tuesday through Thursday from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., they can look at your schedule and see when you're available for a recurring job as well. So a lot of times families don't think to look at your hours on your profile, and it gets a bit annoying to always have to send them your hours. So you can nicely reference them to your profile. I would suggest saying something along these lines. Thank you for inquiring for my services. On my profile, you'll see the hours that I'm available, and if they fit your requested times, I would love to set up a Zoom interview with you and we can discuss the job further. That's one way. Another way is to simply copy and paste your hours that you have on Care to your Notes app, and you can easily just have a quick message with the hours you're available. Copy it from your Notes app, just put it in the direct messages on Care.com and just send it, and then you don't have to type it up every single time a parent inquires about your hours, right? So then you're going to also put down any of the jobs you're willing to do. So Care.com has options such as, would you be willing to take care of the pets if a family has it? Would you be willing to offer tutoring service, meal prep, house cleaning, laundry, errands, carpooling? There's tons of opportunities on there, and I'll discuss later on how you go about that, adding that into your wages, because I think if you're going to do more than just your typical care, being supervising, being in the home, watching the children, if you're going to be adding all these other activities, you definitely need to make sure you're being paid to do so. Some parents will try and take advantage of you, and you have to remind them like, hey, I'm self-employed, I don't have to do this, so either pay me what I'm worth or I'm not going to offer this service to you, right? So you have your profile picture, your name, the location, the city that you live in. You have your qualifications. You have the services you're willing to provide, and what else is on the profile. Let me see. All right, so I grabbed my phone so I can make sure I have all of the information that you need on your profile. So obviously, since there's COVID now, you have to state if you're vaccinated or not. You want to put down if you have your own form of transportation, right? CPR, first aid train, if you're a smoker or non-smoker, because you know you can smell it on your clothing and in your car, and children can pick up secondhand smoke whether you smoke it in front of them, but just because it's on you, that counts as secondhand smoke. It asks for your years of experience, so mine says 10 years plus because I've been working in child care since I was in middle school. I took the CPR first aid training for babysitters that Red Cross offered at Grand Blanc High School back in the day. My mom let me take the class, and then I started professionally I started babysitting people in my neighborhood and my mom's clients, and I was making so much money doing that on the side. And then you put your hourly rate on there as well, which I'll discuss later. So we said recurring availability, we discussed book now, then you're gonna have your bio. Right now, mine says I'm no longer accepting new clients because I'm swamped, right? But I will try and remember what I put on there. And I always have parents that are always like, oh my God, your bio sparked my interest. We loved your bio. Your bio made us feel comfortable, blah, 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 this, you're this and that. So the bio is important. You want to make sure you make it personable, and you want to make sure that you put something that the family can relate in your bio so they'll feel more comfortable hiring you, right? So the services is the age group. So what age are you willing to work with? I know some people who don't want to work with infants, so they say they have to be 1 or 2, and then some people don't want to work with older kids, so they say under 10, right? So you can decide what age you want to work for, which is pretty cool. Me, I say, 0 to 18, I don't mind. I've worked with all ages, so I'm familiar with all of them. And the services you pick, right? Qualifications, education, professional skills, and then the safety. You have to have a background check on care.com. So if you've ever had any misdemeanors or felonies that involve anything like burglary, child abuse, obviously, neglect, danger, violence, you're not going to pass the background check, and you won't be able to create an Cara.com app legally with your legal information, because you do have to give your first name, your last name, your mailing address that you've used in some type of document, such as your license, maybe your car registration, what else? Your taxes, etc., right? Then you have to give your social security number so they can run a background check. For me, I have to do background checks basically every year, fingerprints at Identigo, because I work professionally in childcare. I work in the school systems, and that's just something you have to do all the time on a state and federal level. Then you have to verify some information. So I have my phone number and I have my email verified. I never put my social media handles on anything professional. I never use them even at work, and I never even connect my phone to work Wi-Fi. Why? Because you just don't want anything to happen that would harm you in any way at work, right? So then at the bottom, you have recommendations or reviews from families, and these are important. I'll post mine so you can see what families have said about me. And the more you have, the better it looks on your profile, and the more comfortable, again, families would feel. So for pictures on your profile, again, you don't want to show any cleavage. Maybe try and keep tattoos down. Make sure your hair is pulled back so they can see your face. Try and limit the filter usage. And make sure you never show pictures of children in your profile, because that is limiting and that is breaching privacy of that child. You always want to make sure, just another safety note, I haven't got there yet, but if you take pictures of children, you want to make sure you have the parents okay and permission to do so, because you are not their parent, and you never should ever post pictures of children online without the parents' permission as well. So we talked about the profile, we talked about the qualifications. So now let's discuss interview questions that you will need to ask on Zoom when you meet the family. So when your family connects with you on Care, they are going to message you. If you have a great profile like mine, families are going to reach out to you. I get about, in my area, I live in an affluent, predominantly white area, and from what I've gathered from care.com, more white people use it than any other race. Maybe they're just more trusting. It's just their culture versus other cultures, even though I have cared for Chinese, Indian, and Black off of Care, but I get more white families on care.com. After the family connects with you, if they message you, that means you typically have a great profile and it popped up and they like it, so they want to contact you. But other times you can contact family. You can see that they posted a job posting, kind of like Indeed, and then you can send them a message. And what I would say if I had to do that was, hello, my name is Aisha Richards. I saw your job posting and I am interested in applying for a position or interviewing for this job. And then you can reference your profile and your bio because it automatically sends that to them so they can look at all of the information there. And then you can send them 3 dates and 3 times that you're available to meet for an interview, so they don't have to send back and forth. You know, you just give them all the information right up front and then you can move on from there. So the interview questions comes after you've connected, you've matched with them, they want to speak with you, they're inquiring about your services, you're inquiring about them, they're going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, right? So you're going to ask them some questions because right now we're speaking on our end as the caregiver. So what you need to ask these parents is how many children are going to be there at the time of service. Be careful of the families who say, hey, my neighbor's kids or the cousins are coming over, but you don't have to count them in the hourly fee because blah, blah, blah. Like, no. If the police came and your cousin or your neighbor broke their arm or got burned, are they going to say, oh, it's okay, you weren't supposed to watch them because the parent said no? It's like, no, you were the adult in the home. CPS is not going to care if you were being paid to watch them or not. So you need to make sure you're paid because at the end of the day, they're a liability and you are going to be liable for anything that happens to the children that you're around at the time of care. So you mark them up. If it's 5 kids, they're going to have to pay your fee for 5 kids. If they don't want to do that, then you don't work there. And if it happened while you were at work and you already started, just, don't book for them again. If they ask why, you tell them, hey, because I said you told me you're only having 3 kids at the home and then more kids showed up and you weren't willing to pay for them, so I won't be able to offer you services anymore. You're going to want to know how many kids are there. You're going to want to know the ages of the children because that's important. You need to get mentally ready for that job. You're going to want to know if any of the children have disabilities because we want to make sure we're providing quality care and we want to make sure we fit and are offering whatever unique services that child needs. Again, allergies or any type of severe medical needs that child has, because you want to make sure you're prepared for that. You don't want any unexpected incidents to happen. You want to make sure you're trained and knowledgeable for anything that you need to know to care for the child, right? And you don't want to give the child peanut butter if they're allergic to peanuts. So those things are important. You want to know emergency contact information. This part is maybe we'll say going in once you have established that you're going to work for the family. You're going to want to know if they have emergency contacts, what hospital they would like you to take the child need to be. And then you're also going to want a note, which I don't know the specifics of, so you need to Google a note stating that you are able to take the child to the hospital and the doctor can question you if the child needs to go into surgery, blah, 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 that you can give the okay, if the parents aren't there to do so. So you want to have all that information. You may think it's like that's doing too much, but if something happens and you don't have this information, that is a terrible feeling. You could potentially get in trouble for child neglect, and you don't want to have that on your record because that means you can never care for a child ever again or for like a 15-year period, and that means you can never do this job again or work in any form of childcare. You can never do it. So make sure you don't do anything that can cause you to be charged, right? So what other questions would you want to ask the parents? Okay, yeah, so those are the questions you want to ask on Zoom. So let's say you get the job. These are things you're going to want to know once you arrive. You're going to want to know what rooms are off limits. You're going to want to know the child's schedule. So if it's an infant, you need to know their feeding schedule. How often do you need to feed them? What's the measurements of the feeding? Blah, 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 blah. You're going to want to know the bedtime. Maybe if you're doing a get them ready for school type of thing, you're going to need to know what time the school bus comes, what time the drop off is, etc., etc. These are just little things that you need to ask, because sometimes parents forget to tell you because they already know, so they don't think to tell you, but you want to know these things depending on what job you're offering. And who's all going to be at the home at the time of care? That's an important one. Sometimes I've worked with families, especially grad students and med students and soon to be nurses. A lot of them are going to ask you to care while they're home because they just need some time to study and complete essays and exams, right? So they don't necessarily need to leave the house. They just are going to want to they just need some time away, and they need you to watch their child so they can focus on what they need to focus for school. So you want to know who's going to be there at the time of service, because again, you got to make sure your safety comes first and that you are comfortable in the home. So you want to know who's there. And yeah, okay, now we can move to safety and liabilities. So first thing I suggest is getting chauffeur / nanny car insurance. For me at State Farm, it was an additional fee to get this covered. So basically, if I am providing transportation to a child and I get into a car accident, they will be covered under my insurance. And if the parents decide to sue me, I can just basically handle it because it's already covered on my insurance, and I just pay the insurance deductible and we're good, right? It's not that simple, but it's good just to have it on your insurance at the end of the day, right? Never go into basements, attics, or basements if it's not child friendly. If there's no children, toys, or activities down there, you don't need to be in those areas. It's not safe to do. Always share your location with a friend or family member so they know where you're going to be. Always meet on Zoom prior to your going to their home. Never accept a job, because again, I've had families who asked me to come to their house. It is Tuesday. They asked me to come on Tuesday, the same day at 7 o'clock. They're going to go out for dinner and drinks, and they want me to watch their child. No, I'm not comfortable going to your house, a stranger, watching your child, another stranger, while you're gone. Heck no, that is definitely not going to happen. I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know this child. I don't know your family. I don't know the area. What safety regulations are going on? And again, parents are going to ask you these things, so you're going to have to make your own judgment. And I recommend you never to accept a job the day of the job posting. Don't do it. It's not safe. I suggest driving by the home and driving through the neighborhood before, so you can know what the house looks like. You can kind of get an idea, feel of the neighborhood before you show up for your first day. And what else? Oh, also try your best to get the kids on the Zoom meeting, because sometimes you might have scammers on care.com, right? Yes, there are scammers, and maybe people trying to catch you for sex trafficking or trying to do harm to you in some form, fashion. So you want to make sure they actually have kids. So if you can see them, that would be the perfect thing to do. And another thing I would suggest is maybe you meeting the kids while the parents are in the home on the first meet and greet. Okay. Oh yeah, pay. So for me, since I have years of experience, teaching experience, working in a residential facilities with children that have experienced severe forms of trauma, I'm trauma trained, I'm CPR first aid certified. I have a lot of qualifications, skills, and certificates. I'm not going to go through my whole resume here right now. And then I can speak Spanish. I can speak a second language. So that automatically makes me be able to charge more. So you're going to have to consider all of that. And you can also look and Google what is the average rate in my area for childcare. So for me, for one child, my base pay is $20 an hour. For two, 22. For three, it goes up to 24 an hour. And then if they request me to do transportation, I include that in my fee because that's gas, that's oil, right? So that is an additional fee to the hourly charge. So maybe if they say, hey, we have 2 kids, so that's 22 an hour, and we would like for you to pick them up from school and take them home. Okay, that'll be, let's say 50 additional a week. Or if you just go on a Friday, okay, that'll be $10 additional charge, 15, depending on the miles that it takes and however much the gas is and how many miles your car takes to fill up, right? So you got to do the math and share it with the family, like, hey, my car takes this much to fill up, this is how many miles it takes to get there, and this is how much it costs right now per gallon. So this is my charge for transportation. And then if you're driving further, because sometimes in certain areas, like when I was working in Muskegon, I had to drive a lot further because there are shorter people offering care. And then again, my care profile is like flashing lights to families, right? Because I'm a teacher. So they want me to care and they're willing to pay for me to get there. So I even have charged, if they're making me drive, if it's 25 miles or more, I'm automatically charging a base fee, right? So if you want me to go there, depending on how many days a week you want me to come, I'm going to add that on to my hourly fee, okay? So those are things to keep in mind is transportation during care and transportation to get to the actual care, right? And then how many kids are going to be there and the ages of kids, I would incorporate that in your price as well. Also, tutoring, that's an additional charge because that takes planning, prep work. You have to put in a lot more mental effort than just showing up and watching a kid be on their iPad and watch YouTube all the time, which, that's a whole other conversation itself. But most of the time now when you're doing care, you don't even have to do much because all the kids want to do is just watch YouTube videos all day. And it's like you try and encourage them and offer activities and games because, me, since I've worked in childcare, especially early child care, I'm used to talking like nonstop because you're trying to develop their language skills, right? And you're trying to teach them how to control their emotions. So I'm talking to them all the time. And half the time they're like ignoring me because they have their headphones on and they're watching YouTube. So, hey. So tutoring, that's extra charge. If they want you to do light meal prep, that I wouldn't charge more because that's typical care services. They want you to, usually it's like Kraft mac and cheese, right? They want you just to heat it up, boil it, and add the cheddar cheese, artificial cheese into it. That's easy. That shouldn't be an extra charge. But if they want you to do actual housekeeping, like laundry, cleaning up things that the child didn't do, then you need to be charging extra for that. And I'll let you use your own discretion on that. But you need to think about that and consider that when you're giving prices. Be careful. Sometimes I've had families that have requested my services, say they have 2 kids, so that's $20 an hour. And they just want me to provide basic daycare services. So watch the kids, provide a light meal, and, just be around them and communicate with them, play with them. And then when you get there, she's like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you tutor? Can you do laundry? It's like, yes, but it'll be an additional charge. And are you willing to pay this? If not, then no, I will not be able to offer those additional services to you. Okay. What else for pay? So qualifications, years of experience, the amount of children, what services they're requesting, transportation, all that is included in your hourly or just your additional flat base fee. What other things do I inquire on for that? Oh, another thing for safety just randomly popped in my mind. If you have to change diapers, I would suggest bringing not latex-free gloves to do so. You know, just another safety precaution. Make sure you're washing your hands before and after, and the child is washing their hands before and after diaper changes as well. Yeah, that's all I can think of now. If you all have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I will answer it. And if you want a Google Doc with all this information, I will create one. Just comment Google Doc so I know that you actually want it, so I don't waste my time making it. And if you want me to go in more specifics on any of these statements I made in the video, I would surely do so. Just let me know again. And thanks for watching my channel. Make sure you all like and subscribe. And I'm sorry for the length of this video, but I wanted to make sure I give you all the information so you can go ahead and make that 500 to 800 extra a week, okay? Because it's out there. There are people who are needing care, especially now more than ever because of the pandemic. Daycares and schools are closing left and right every day. It's like you never know. And they need someone because they still have to go to work, right? So there's jobs available, and I hope you guys get them and do your best you can. Again, this is only for a certain kind of person. Don't be doing this job now if you don't have any patience, okay? Please don't ruin the name and reputation of all child care providers because you're terrible. Please don't, all right? Because parents are already non-trusting of people watching their kids, so you have to do your best and you have to be professional. Even though you're going to their home, you need to remind yourself that this is a professional job and you need to be dressed appropriately and you need to respect the family's boundaries, right? All right, peace out.